Welcome! Today, we're diving into the essentials of lease terms. Whether you're renting your first apartment or managing properties, understanding lease terms is crucial. Lease terms define the rules, responsibilities, and expectations between a landlord and a tenant. They cover everything from how long you'll stay to how much you'll pay each month. In this video, we'll break down the key components of lease agreements, explain common terminology, and guide you through what to look for before signing. Let's start by exploring what a lease actually is and why these terms matter for both parties involved. A lease is a legally binding contract between a landlord and a tenant. It outlines the terms and conditions under which the tenant can occupy the property. Leases can be written, or in some cases, verbal, but written agreements are always recommended for clarity and legal protection. The lease specifies the rental period, payment amount, due dates, and other important details. By signing a lease, both parties agree to follow the outlined rules, which helps prevent misunderstandings and disputes. Next, let's look at the typical duration of lease agreements. Lease duration refers to the length of time the agreement is valid. Most residential leases are for a fixed term, commonly 12 months, but shorter or longer terms are possible. Some leases automatically renew, while others require a new agreement at the end of the term. It's important to know whether your lease is fixed term or month to month, as this affects your flexibility and obligations. Understanding the duration helps you plan your living situation and avoid unexpected changes. Now, let's discuss the rent payment details you'll find in a lease. One of the most important parts of any lease is the rent payment section. This outlines how much rent you owe, when it's due, and how it should be paid. Some leases specify payment methods, such as checks, bank transfers, or online portals. The lease may also include details about late fees if you miss a payment deadline. Knowing these terms helps you budget and avoid penalties. Next, we'll look at security deposits and their role in lease agreements. A security deposit is a sum of money paid by the tenant to the landlord before moving in. It acts as a financial safety net for the landlord in case of property damage or unpaid rent. The lease should clearly state the deposit amount, conditions for its return, and any deductions that may be made. Understanding your rights and responsibilities regarding the security deposit can help you avoid disputes when you move out. Up next, let's talk about maintenance and repair responsibilities. Leases often specify who is responsible for maintaining and repairing the property. Typically, landlords handle major repairs, while tenants are expected to keep the property clean and report issues promptly. Some leases outline specific maintenance tasks, like lawn care or changing air filters. Knowing these responsibilities helps prevent conflicts and ensures the property stays in good condition. Now, let's examine the rules about making changes to the property. Many tenants want to personalize their living space, but leases usually have rules about making changes. Alterations like painting walls, installing shelves, or making structural changes often require the landlord's written permission. Unauthorized changes can lead to penalties or loss of your security deposit. Always check your lease before making any improvements and get approval in writing if needed. Next, let's discuss the importance of occupancy limits in lease agreements. Leases often specify how many people can live in the rental unit. These occupancy limits are set for safety, comfort, and compliance with local laws. Exceeding the allowed number of occupants can result in lease violations or even eviction. If you plan to have roommates or family members move in, always check your lease and communicate with your landlord. Let's move on to another key aspect: pet policies. If you have pets or plan to get one, it's essential to review the lease's pet policy. Some leases prohibit pets entirely, while others allow them with restrictions or additional fees. The lease may specify the type, size, or number of pets permitted. Violating pet policies can lead to fines or even eviction, so always clarify the rules before bringing a pet home. Next, let's look at the rules regarding guests and visitors. Leases often include rules about guests and visitors. Some agreements limit how long guests can stay, or require you to notify the landlord if someone stays overnight for an extended period. These rules help landlords manage occupancy and maintain security. Ignoring guest policies can result in warnings or lease violations. Always check your lease for specific guest rules and communicate with your landlord if you have questions. Now, let's explore the topic of subletting. Subletting means renting out your lease space to another person, either temporarily or for the remainder of your lease. Many leases prohibit subletting without the landlord's written consent. If you're considering subletting, always review your lease and discuss it with your landlord. Unauthorized subletting can lead to eviction or legal action. Understanding subletting rules protects your rights and helps you avoid trouble. Next, let's talk about lease termination and renewal. Lease termination refers to ending the rental agreement before its scheduled expiration date. Some leases allow early termination under certain conditions, such as job relocation or military service. but usually require advance notice and possibly a fee. Breaking a lease without proper cause or notice can result in financial penalties or legal action. Always check your lease for termination clauses and follow the required procedures. Up next, let's discuss lease renewal options. When your lease term ends, you may have the option to renew. Renewal terms can vary. Some landlords offer a new fixed-term lease, while others switch to a month-to-month arrangement. Renewal may involve changes in rent or other terms, so always review the new agreement carefully. If you plan to move out, be sure to provide the required notice to avoid extra charges. Next, let's look at what happens if you violate lease terms. Violating lease terms can have serious consequences. Common violations include late rent payments, unauthorized occupants, or property damage. Landlords may issue warnings, charge fees, or even start eviction proceedings. It's important to understand your lease and follow the rules to avoid these issues. If you receive a violation notice, communicate with your landlord to resolve the problem quickly. Now, let's discuss the importance of renter's insurance. Some leases require tenants to have renter's insurance, which protects your personal belongings in case of theft, fire, or other disasters. Even if it's not required, renter's insurance is a smart investment. It can also provide liability coverage if someone is injured in your rental unit. Always check your lease for insurance requirements and shop around for the best policy. Next, let's look at the rules regarding utilities and who pays for them. Leases usually specify which utilities and services are included in the rent and which are the tenant's responsibility. Common utilities include electricity, water, gas, trash collection, and internet. Some leases bundle these costs into the rent, while others require tenants to set up and pay for services separately. Understanding who pays for what helps you budget accurately and avoid surprises. Now, let's talk about property access and privacy rights. Tenants have a right to privacy, but landlords may need to enter the property for repairs, inspections, or emergencies. Leases often outline the notice required before entry, typically 24 to 48 hours, except in emergencies. Understanding these rules helps protect your privacy and ensures necessary maintenance is performed. If you have concerns about privacy, discuss them with your landlord and refer to your lease. Next, let's explore rules about noise and neighbor relations. Most leases include clauses about noise levels and respecting neighbors. Excessive noise can lead to complaints and even lease violations. Quiet hours, usually during nighttime, may be specified in the lease. Being considerate of neighbors helps maintain a positive living environment and avoids conflicts. If you have issues with neighbors, try to resolve them amicably or involve your landlord if necessary. Now, let's look at rules regarding smoking and prohibited activities. Leases may prohibit smoking or other activities that could damage the property or disturb others. Some buildings are entirely smoke-free, while others allow smoking in designated areas. Other prohibited activities might include illegal drug use, running a business from home, or keeping hazardous materials. Violating these rules can result in fines or eviction. Always review your lease for a list of prohibited activities. Next, let's discuss the importance of reading the fine print. It's easy to overlook the fine print in a lease, but these details can have a big impact. Fine print often includes information about fees, penalties, renewal terms, and special rules. Take your time to read every section, and don't hesitate to ask questions if something is unclear. Understanding the fine print helps you avoid surprises and ensures you know your rights and responsibilities. Now, let's talk about negotiating lease terms. Did you know that many lease terms are negotiable? Before signing, you can discuss changes with your landlord, such as rent amount, pet policies, or included utilities. Negotiating can lead to a better deal or more favorable conditions. Always get any agreed changes in writing to avoid misunderstandings later. Being proactive and respectful during negotiations can make the process smoother. Next, let's look at the importance of keeping records. It's important to keep copies of your lease agreement, payment, receipts, and any communication with your landlord. These records can help resolve disputes and prove your compliance with lease terms. Store digital and paper copies in a safe place. If you make any requests or receive approvals, document them in writing. Good record keeping is a simple way to protect yourself as a tenant. Now, let's discuss what to do before moving in. Before moving in, complete a checklist to document the property's condition. Note any existing damage, take photos, and share the list with your landlord. This protects you from being held responsible for pre-existing issues when you move out. The checklist should cover all rooms, appliances, and fixtures. Both you and your landlord should sign and keep a copy. Next, let's talk about your responsibilities during the lease. As a tenant, you have several responsibilities outlined in your lease. These typically include paying rent on time, keeping the property clean, reporting maintenance issues, and following all rules. Fulfilling your obligations helps maintain a good relationship with your landlord and ensures a positive rental experience. If you're unsure about any responsibility, refer to your lease or ask your landlord. Now, let's look at the landlord's responsibilities. Landlords also have important responsibilities. They must provide a safe, habitable property, make necessary repairs, and respect your privacy. The lease should outline how to request repairs and the expected response time. If your landlord fails to meet these obligations, you may have legal options. Understanding both parties' responsibilities helps prevent conflicts. Next, let's discuss what happens at the end of your lease. As your lease ends, follow the procedures outlined in your agreement. This may include giving notice, cleaning the property, and scheduling a move-out inspection. Return all keys and provide a forwarding address for your security deposit. Completing these steps ensures a smooth transition and helps you get your deposit back. Now, let's talk about the move-out inspection process. A move-out inspection is a walkthrough with your landlord to assess the property's condition. This determines if any deductions will be made from your security deposit. Be present during the inspection and compare the property's condition to your move-in checklist. Address any issues if possible before the inspection. This process helps ensure fairness and transparency. Next, let's discuss how to handle disputes over security deposits. Disagreements over security deposit returns are common. If you believe deductions are unfair, review your lease, move-in checklist, and any photos you took. Communicate with your landlord to resolve the issue. If you can't reach an agreement, you may need to seek mediation or legal advice. Keeping thorough records increases your chances of a favorable outcome. Now, let's look at what to do if you need to break your lease. Sometimes, tenants need to break a lease early due to unforeseen circumstances. Always check your lease for early termination clauses and follow the required steps. You may need to pay a fee or forfeit your deposit. Communicate openly with your landlord and try to reach a mutual agreement. Understanding your rights and obligations can help minimize financial and legal consequences. Next, let's discuss legal protections for tenants. Tenants have legal rights that protect them from unfair treatment. These include the right to a habitable home, protection from discrimination, and limits on security deposit amounts. Local laws may provide additional protections, such as notice requirements for rent increases or eviction. Always familiarize yourself with tenant rights in your area and seek legal help if you believe your rights are being violated. Now, let's look at landlord legal protections. Landlords also have legal rights, such as collecting rent, enforcing lease terms, and evicting tenants for valid reasons. They must follow legal procedures for eviction and cannot discriminate against tenants. Understanding these protections helps landlords manage their properties fairly and legally. Both parties benefit from knowing their rights and responsibilities. Next, let's discuss the importance of communication between tenants and landlords. Open communication between tenants and landlords is key to a successful rental relationship. Promptly report issues, ask questions, and keep all communication professional and documented. Good communication can prevent misunderstandings and resolve problems quickly. If conflicts arise, try to work together to find a solution before escalating the issue. Now, let's look at the role of property management companies. Some landlords hire property management companies to handle leasing, maintenance, and tenant relations. If you rent from a property manager, they act as the main point of contact. Property managers must follow the same laws and lease terms as landlords. They can help streamline communication and resolve issues efficiently. Always know who to contact for repairs or questions about your lease. Next, let's discuss what to do if you need legal help. If you encounter serious problems with your lease or landlord, don't hesitate to seek legal advice. Many communities offer free or low-cost legal services for tenants. Legal professionals can help you understand your rights, review your lease, and represent you in disputes. Acting early can prevent small issues from becoming major problems. Now, let's look at some common lease terms and what they mean. Leases are full of specific terms that can be confusing. Common terms include premises, the rental property, lessor, landlord, lessee, tenant, default, failure to meet obligations, and assignment, transferring the lease to someone else. Understanding these terms helps you interpret your lease correctly. If you're unsure about any language, ask your landlord or a legal professional for clarification. Next, let's discuss the concept of joint and several liability. If you share a lease with roommates, you might encounter joint and several liability. This means each tenant is individually and collectively responsible for the full rent and any damages. If one roommate fails to pay, the others must cover the shortfall. This clause protects landlords but can be risky for tenants. Always discuss responsibilities with your roommates and consider a roommate agreement. Now, let's look at the difference between leases and rental agreements. While the terms are often used interchangeably, Leases and rental agreements have key differences. A lease typically covers a fixed term, like 12 months, while a rental agreement is usually month to month and can be changed or terminated with proper notice. Both documents outline the rights and responsibilities of landlords and tenants. Understanding the difference helps you choose the best option for your situation. Next, let's discuss the importance of reading and understanding your lease before signing. Never sign a lease without reading and understanding every section. Take your time, ask questions, and clarify any unclear terms. Signing a lease is a legal commitment, so make sure you're comfortable with all the conditions. If you feel pressured, ask for more time or seek advice. Being thorough now can save you from headaches later. Now, let's look at what to do if you need to make changes after signing. Sometimes, you may need to change your lease after signing. This could involve adding a roommate, changing the rent amount, or updating policies. Any changes should be made in writing and signed by both parties. Verbal agreements are hard to enforce, so always document amendments. Clear communication and proper documentation protect both tenants and landlords. Next, let's discuss the importance of understanding local rental laws. Rental laws vary by location and can affect your lease terms. These laws may cover security deposits, eviction procedures, rent control, and more. Always research local regulations before signing a lease. If your lease conflicts with the law, the legal requirements usually take precedence. Understanding local laws helps you protect your rights and avoid legal trouble. Now, let's look at resources for learning more about lease terms. If you want to learn more about lease terms, many resources are available. Local housing authorities, tenant unions, and legal aid organizations offer information and support. Online guides and government websites can also help you understand your rights and responsibilities. Taking the time to educate yourself empowers you to make informed decisions. Next, let's summarize the key points we've covered. Let's recap the essentials of lease terms. Always read your lease carefully, understand your rights and responsibilities, and keep good records. Communicate openly with your landlord and know where to find help if you need it. Understanding lease terms protects you from surprises and helps ensure a positive rental experience. Now, let's look at some tips for a successful tenancy. For a smooth rental experience, pay rent on time, respect the property, and follow all lease rules. Build a good relationship with your landlord through clear communication. Address problems early and seek help if needed. Being a responsible tenant benefits you and helps maintain a positive living environment. Next, let's share some advice for landlords. Landlords should provide clear, fair lease agreements and respond promptly to tenant concerns. Regular maintenance and open communication build trust and reduce conflicts. Stay informed about local laws and treat all tenants equally. A well-managed property attracts responsible tenants and leads to long-term success. Finally, let's wrap up with a closing summary. Understanding lease terms is essential for both tenants and landlords. By knowing your rights, responsibilities, and the details of your agreement, you can avoid misunderstandings and enjoy a positive rental experience. Remember to read your lease carefully, communicate openly, and seek help when needed. Thanks for watching, and best of luck with your next rental journey.